गेहस्थितो हरि जीवनेन धने नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
कृष्ण चित्तस्थिता राधा राधा चित्तस्थितो हरि जीवानि नादनि नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम
कृष्ण चित्तस्थिता राधा राधा चित्तस्थितो हरि जीवनेन धने नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
नीलाम्बराधरा राधा पीताम्बरधरो हरि जीवानि नादनि नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
नीलाम्बरधरो राधा पीताम्बरधरो हरि जीवनेन धने नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
वृन्दावनेश्वरी राधा कृष्ण वृन्दावनेश्वरा जीवानि नादनि नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
वृन्दावनेश्वरी राधा कृष्ण वृन्दावनेश्वरः जीवनेन धने नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
कृष्ण प्रेममयी राधा राधा प्रेममयो हरि जीवानि नादनि नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
कृष्ण प्रेममयी राधा राधा प्रेममयो हरि जीवनेन धने नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण
हरि बोल
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Everyone, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
कृष्ण प्रेममयी राधा राधा प्रेममयो हरि जीवानि नादनि नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम
कृष्ण प्रेममयी राधा राधा प्रेममयो हरि जीवनेन धने नित्यं राधाकृष्ण गतिर्मम Oh, did okay, okay. Then you release. Okay, we'll do Hare Krishna. I mean, after that, you guys. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमो देशि गुरुं नियन्तारणम् Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama
Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hey Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय.
Jai.
Yeah, that's good. I need that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Shri Radha Nilamadhava ki jai. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Gaur Nitai ki jai. Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Oh, thank you very much for coming tonight. This is our regular Sunday evening program. I have some good news for you also. We need to have some good news. There's so much bad news. It's got to be some good news also. Good news is we've opened our second temple yesterday. It's a lot bigger than this one. And it's in a very, very high-profile place, Bellevue, right in the Spring District. And it's a beautiful temple. It's very, very big. It's like twice as big as this temple, at least, maybe more. And it's easy to get there. It's easier to get there than to come to Sammamish, you know. But the idea is that our goal is to have as many points of education as possible, because most people do not understand who God is, what are the qualities of God, and how to serve God. So instead of saying God, we're talking about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And having another temple in Bellevue is going to be a great asset, because more people can come and they can learn who Krishna is and how to serve Krishna and eventually how to love Krishna. And by loving Krishna, you go back to Godhead. It's very simple. And it's not difficult to love Krishna. Look how beautiful he is. You see him right here in the temple, right? He's gorgeous, Radha and Krishna. And now we have Balaji and Sudevi and Lakshmi Devi in our temple in Bellevue. And then pretty soon, a couple months, we'll also have Radha and Krishna there. So our activities are expanding. What for? To help as many people as possible understand who Krishna is, how to serve Krishna, and how to love Krishna. That is the real goal of human life. If you, at the moment of death, if you think about your 401k, you don't go back to Godhead. You stay in the material world and suffer more. But if you can remember Krishna at the moment of death, you go back to Godhead, where you no longer have a material body, you have a spiritual body, where there's no more taxes to pay. There are no more problems in life, because you have an eternal transcendental body, and you're associating with Krishna and all elevated and liberated souls, and you are completely in a spiritual, eternal atmosphere. Now, right now, we all have eternal souls, but our soul is covered by this material body, which perplexes us. We unfortunately identify with the body and ignore the soul. It's just like one time there was a lady, she bought an expensive parakeet. And for her bird pet, she bought an expensive cage. It was like a golden cage. And every day she would polish the cage. She would polish the cage, but forgot to feed the parakeet. What happened? After a week or two, the parakeet was dead, but the cage was shining. So in the same way, we all have an eternal soul. And our soul is who actually we are. But most people forget or are not conscious that they have a soul, an eternal soul. And they think they're only the body. Now you can't say, I am this body. Why? Well, I could ask you a question. Which body are you talking about? The one that came out of your mother's womb? Or the body you had when you were 6 or 12 or 20 or 40 or 80? You see, we are all constantly changing our body, so we cannot say I'm this body. But you can say that the consciousness is the symptom of my spiritual body, because your consciousness is what makes you perceive things. And you also see that you started with a very little body. Everybody starts with a microscopic body. You need a microscope to see the sperm of the husband. And then when it connects with the ovum, it develops. And all the intellectual, let's say, knowledge of how to make a perfect human body is in that little sperm. It's carrying all that information. How to make your arms, your legs, your nose, your tongue, the heart, the feet, the nails, everything. It's like a miracle. And all of a sudden, a little baby comes out. Now, you ladies, you have children, I'm sure. Do you know how you made that child in your womb? Do you know? Anybody? No, you don't know. It's a miracle. If I asked you, okay, make another baby, but not in your womb, but because you made one in your womb, you should be able to make one with your hands and, who knows, clay or something. No, you wouldn't be able to do it. There are many mysterious things happening in our body that we have no idea of how it's happening. Although we say this is my body, that proves that this is not your body or not our body, because you have no control over those things. For example, your body makes blood. No one has ever been able to manufacture blood. They make parts of blood, but they've never been able to make the full thing. Otherwise, anyone that does that, they'll become the richest person in the world. But your body makes blood, and you don't know how you do it, you see. And in the womb of a mother, she makes an entire body of a baby. Nobody knows. She doesn't know how she does it. And there are so many mysterious things that are being produced in your body, but you don't know. That means that we're not in control of it. There's somebody else controlling all these things. Like, for example, you're not choosing to get old. You're not choosing to get sick. You're not choosing to die, but yet it happens, and you can't stop it. You can try to stop it, but it doesn't work. See? So, unless you ask the question, why is this happening? If you don't ask that question, then you remain ignorant. It's just like if you don't ask questions of your mother and father when you're growing up, if you don't ask questions of your teachers, you won't get a good education. The entire Vedic literature, whether it's Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or the any of the different scriptures in the Vedas, they're all questions and answers. Bhagavad Gita is all questions by Arjuna, answers by Krishna. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is questions by Maharaj Yudhisthira and answers by what's his name? Yes, Sukadeva Goswami. So we see questions and answers. You don't learn by speaking. You learn by asking questions. Therefore, the whole Vedic literature is questions and answers. Therefore, in our life, like, for example, when there's a young little boy or girl, they'll be asking their parents questions and answers. Mommy, what's that? Daddy, what's this? What's this? What's that? See, they're trying to find out, what are all these things that they're beginning to see. They don't see so much when they're a baby, but as they start growing, they see many things, and they don't know what it is, so they're asking questions. What is this? What is that? As we get older, many times people stop asking questions, and that's when they stop learning. You learn by asking questions and hearing the answers from bona fide people, not by nonsense people. See? So if you ask a thief, a question, they probably won't give you the true answer. But if you ask a genuine devotee, they'll give you the real answer. And what is the most essential question? What is the meaning of life? What are we actually supposed to do in this life? What is the real purpose? I should have in this lifetime. Should I be a baseball player? Should I be what? A criminal? Should I be a movie star? You know, people are asked, oftentimes ask this question: who am I? What should I be doing? And most of the time, people get it wrong. But when you ask a genuine sadhu, what am I supposed to do in this life? What is my real vocation? A genuine sadhu will say, your real vocation is to learn how to become liberated from the cycle of birth and death and go back to Godhead. In other words, you have to know what your relationship with God is. And along with that, you have to understand, what does it mean to be God? So nowadays, if somebody, like for example, if I'm sitting here, and I'm talking, all of a sudden I pull out a gold watch or a gold necklace, you know, and everyone says, oh my God, he must be God, you know. He took this gold necklace appeared, see? So that's a magician's trick. That doesn't mean someone is God. But when you hear a genuine sadhu speak, and they explain what is the actual purpose of human life and how to attain that purpose and how to identify what it means to be a human being, then you're getting genuine knowledge, and then you have knowledge by which you can organize your life to be successful. Everybody wants to be successful, but to be successful, you have to have proper knowledge, see? And that proper knowledge has to be spoken by a person who has already attained that knowledge and who can explain it as it is. So, just as we saw with the Ram temple, it's a facsimile of the Ram temple that was built 40 million years ago. And is rebuilt again today, 40 million years later. That is real knowledge. That is real culture. And that is what you call eternal culture, or Sanatan. Sanatan means eternal. So the Ram temple, built originally 40 million years ago, was rebuilt again. And the same thing that happened 40 million years ago happened again. People were lighting candles. People were chanting Jai Shri Ram. People built a temple that looked very similar to the one that was there 40 million years ago. So we see this is real culture, where the ancient, let's say, culture is still alive today. And the same things they did in the time of Lord Ram, they did again when they opened the temple, you see. So now the question is how to preserve this culture. You preserve this culture by being able to teach your children. Now, that's the big problem today, because the educational system today is all atheistic. And what does that mean? That means that when you go to school today, whether it's in kindergarten or whether you're graduating from college, there are two assumptions that you've learned by listening to your professors and listening to other people. That is, number one, you only live once. And number two, when you die, there's nothing. That's enough to make anybody an atheist. And that's what they're teaching in the schools. You only live once, and when you die, there's nothing. That means there's no law of karma. You're not going to be responsible to anyone. That means also that you only have a very short period of time, maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And when you die, there's nothing, and there's no karma, and there's no God. So this is what kids are learning today. This is what more or less is being taught in schools. materialistic schools. And don't be surprised that when your child was 5, 6, 7, 8, you would say, Jai Karo. Jai Karo. Yeah. But when they get to be 14, 15, you say, okay, Jai Karo. Say, no, I'm not going to say it. Why? Because they've been poisoned by the educational system and bad association. And even the teachers are not devotees. They're mostly demons. Who is a demon? Number one qualification to be a demon, you have to eat meat. Number two qualification to be a demon, you don't believe that God exists. Number three qualification to be a demon, you're only interested in sense gratification. You're not interested in any spirituality. Number four qualification to be a demon, you like to speculate. You don't accept Vedic knowledge. You want to speculate. You want to have your own opinion. Well, if you look at the whole Vedic history, the ancient opinions of the great Mahants and great devotees has been preserved, and they're still teaching it today. You saw that with the Ram Janmabhoomi temple and what they were doing there. They were recreating what happened 40 million years ago. It's the same religion. It's the same, not religion, it's the same spirituality that's been kept alive all these years. So this is real culture. Real culture is not eating meat, gambling, having illicit sex, intoxicating, learning how to just work to make money so that you can have sense gratification. That's not culture. I mean, even animals do that. They eat, they sleep, they have sex, they engage in, they play, we're not animals. What differentiates an animal from a human being is the quest to understand the relationship to God. The animals don't have that capacity. You don't see any animal coming to the temple, sitting down, listening to the class, or dancing in the Sankirtan, in the Kirtan. The animals are interested mainly in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So when you see a human being also is only interested in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, that's an animal. That's not a human being. The thing that qualifies someone to be a human being is their quest to understand their relationship with God. The animals can't do that. And as long as people don't do that, they're not more qualified than the animal. They're only interested in eating, sleeping, mating, defending, making a lot of money, spending it, and enjoying basically sense gratification. Okay, so how do we develop spirituality? You don't develop it by reading Amar, what is it, that comic book? Huh? Yeah, you don't learn philosophy by reading Amar Chatrakan. You don't learn by watching television. You don't learn by watching movies. You don't learn by speculating yourself or hearing other people's speculations. And what does it mean, a speculation? Whenever a person begins to speak, they say, I think, why don't we assume, and they use phrases like that. That means they're speculating. They don't know what they're talking about. When a person knows what they're talking about, they come out straight and say, look, the real purpose of life is to liberate yourself from the cycle of birth and death. It's not just to make money. It's not just to have big houses and big cars and eat a lot and go on vacations and things like that. It's to liberate yourself from the cycle of birth and death. That's the greatest, by the way, that's the greatest gift that a parent can give the child. The knowledge by which they can be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. It's not a great gift to give them a brand new BMW or the latest Rolex watch or things like that. That's not the greatest gift. The greatest gift is to give them the knowledge and the practice, teach them to practice how to go back to Godhead in this lifetime. That's real gift That's real knowledge. See? So unless we rekindle the desire for developing real knowledge of how to navigate through all the nonsense in this material world without becoming influenced by it, and to develop love for Perumal, or God, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Then we're educated. Then your child is educated. Your child is not educated by learning differential calculus or learning how to invest in stocks or learning this or that. The child is educated when they know how to become liberated from the cycle of birth and death. That's the greatest gift you can give your child. See? Otherwise, they're going to end up living like animals, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's an animal. But a human being does those things too, but if they also develop a real thirst for spirituality and practice it and develop the desire to serve and love God, then they become a real human being. And that's what the purpose of the human life is. You know how long it takes to come to a human birth? That means that we have gone through the 8,400,000 different species of life over a huge period of time, of millions of years, to have this human birth. And when you get the human birth, if you use it to understand your relationship with God and act in that relationship, you became a real human being. But the human beings who only eat, sleep, mate, and defend, they're not actually human beings. They're human, they're beings, but they're acting like animals. Because that's what animals do. They're no better than an animal. So, this is what you have to teach your kids. This is what you have to learn yourself. They don't teach this in schools. They teach a lot of other things that are actually useless as far as liberating ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. So just imagine living a clean life. You believe in God or Krishna. You serve Krishna. You become a sevak. You offer arti to Krishna every day. Now let me ask a question. Most of you are coming from Hindu background. Let's say you go back to your mother and father, and you go back to your grandmother and grandfather. What were they doing? How were they living? Well, most of them were living a sattvic life. Sattvic means they were following the regulative principles of spirituality. They're performing spiritual, pujas every day in the house, and then going to the temple also. They were going on parikram, holy places. They were living a sattvic life for the most part. And sattvic means no meat, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, no bad habits. Having all clean habits, and your main purpose in life is to develop your love for God or Krishna and share that with your family members and other people, and especially your children. So this was the regular, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you go back to your mother and father, you go back to your grandfather, grandmother, you'll see that this was the regular life in Bharat. And now you have to ask a question. Why were there so many invasions of Bharat? So many invasions. It's not only the Mughals, it's not only the British, it's not only, the Muslims. Bharat was regularly invaded. Why? Because it was the richest country in the world. How did it become the richest country in the world? And there's no doubt about it. It was the richest country in the world because they were following Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means eternal. Dharma means your duties to serve God. And because of that culture, it also engendered wealth, but wealth that was a blessing from God. And therefore it maintained Bharat for millions of years. I mean, how come you have 1.4 billion Indians? It's because it's generational. It's been going on for a long, long time, and also because of the culture, and that culture was Sanatan, the culture of how to attain immortality in this life. So, don't. There's a saying in English, in India also, that old is gold. This old structure or culture of India is gold. It was a perfect system for people to live peacefully, happily, and to attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death. It's a wonderful culture. The only problem is that the Mughals and Muslims tried to destroy it, but worse than them were the British. The British were more vicious than the Muslims and the Mughals. Their purpose was to destroy Vedic culture. They knew that they could not subjugate the Hindus unless they destroyed their culture. And they worked on it. The first thing they did in 1825 was to have English taught to the kids. Before that, the education system in India was very good. The kids learned their vernacular language, the language of their mother and father, and they also learned Sanskrit and Hindi. And the schools there were small schools, and you had people who were really teachers that were really dedicated to teach these kids the culture of Bharat. Right? Now come the British. Their whole purpose was to destroy Indian or the Vedic culture and subjugate the Indians, because they had to destroy the culture in order to do that. Therefore, they made English the language that everyone should learn. They also took over the schools and the educational system. And for at least, from 200 years, they did everything possible to subjugate and destroy Vedic culture. And they're very good at it. One time, an Indian gentleman went to London, and he was talking with one British guy, and he was trying to explain to the British guy how great the Indian culture is, the spirituality, the customs, the religion, and everything. And then the British guy started laughing at him. And he said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Listen, sir, I think you're a little behind on what's happening today. Your best people are coming to England to learn how to eat meat and have sex and how to spend their whole life being a materialist." Now, is that right? Yes. Yes, it is right. Most people think, like you have someone like Nehru. Nehru, although he was born in India, he was actually a Britisher. He didn't like anything that was Indian. He liked everything that was British. You see? And he influenced a lot of people also with that mentality. And you see, we have to learn that the Western countries have a perverted understanding of what is life and how to live it. And you can see that. And now you see it in India also. In America, there are bars where people go to eat meat and drink liquor and talk nonsense. And there are so many, like very, very disgusting things you can see in the movies and the television. And by the way, the movies become more and more violent and sexual because people won't come and pay the big prices to get into a movie anymore unless the movie is more sexual and more violent. And that's called entertainment. It's not entertainment. Is it entertainment to see someone choked to death in the movie? Just like, for example, and let me ask you a question. Is there anybody here that murdered someone? You can raise your hand. You see, nobody's raising their hand. Is there anyone here that saw someone murdered? You did. You were a policeman. Yeah. Okay. So you see, something that most people have never seen and never done, as soon as you open a television, you can see 5 or 10 murders. People getting choked to death and people getting shot and, you know. And what's interesting is the politicians say, well, we have to take the guns away from the people. But wait a minute, why don't you start by taking the guns away from the movies? They don't take the guns away from the movies. They don't take away the bad guys in the movies that are using bad language and just doing all kinds of mean things. No, they're making the movies more sexual, more violent, so that people come to be entertained. What do you mean by entertainment when you see violence going on all the time, right? So we see that we're living in a very dangerous culture today in the United States and the West. And the reason for that is we're not thinking clearly. And we should go back to old is gold. The Vedic culture was gold. It produced good people, honest, hardworking, good people who believed in God and who practiced Sanatana Dharma. That's why India was so rich. That's why India was, unfortunately, invaded so much, because it was the richest country in the world. Why was it the richest country in the world? Because the people were following Sanatana Dharma and not interested in lavishing their riches, but used their riches to build beautiful temples that are still there, huge temples, so that all the people could come and worship God or Krishna. So today, because of modern education, all this is being lost. Why? Because people have become, people like Nehru and others were not actually Indian. They were like Britishers. They believed in Western technology. They believed in making India an industrial country and ruining it, ruining the whole culture of the Vedic culture. And it's very sad, you see, because people were very happy before. How come there's so many Indians? Because they were living happily for thousands of years. And how come, you can repeat the Ram Janmabhoomi building of the temple again, and what happened 40 million years ago happened again. The whole temple was lit up with candles, and people were coming and praying and saying, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram. You see, this is a powerful culture, but it's becoming little by little destroyed by modern education. So, parents, my suggestion to you is don't put your kid in schools. That's the worst thing you can do, unless it's a spiritual school. But the regular schools, they're not teaching spirituality. They don't teach about God. They teach about there's no God. You only live once. When you die, there's nothing. You see, and that's how they get the young kids programmed to be atheists the rest of their life. So, best thing is educate your kids yourself. Just that was the system before. The kids would be educated to do what their parents were doing to make a living. And along with that, making a living, the culture of the parents. Just like even in my family, when I was a kid, my great auntie, she would take me to church every Sunday. And I know in India it's the same thing. One parent, of the father or mother, would always take their kids to church, to temple, at least once a week, if not more. See? So this culture has to be maintained. A kid does not learn anything of real value in school other than how to make money. But all the rest of the things, such as how to control their senses, how to be a genuine servant of God, how to be humble, all these things are not really taught in schools. They might talk about it, but actually what's happening, like for example, many of you have children. Ask your children what they're talking about in their school, what the other kids are talking about in the school. And I guarantee you they're going to say they're just speaking nonsense. They're talking about cell phones, they're talking about movies, they're talking about all these things, but not one word about God. So we have to be very careful in this culture today, because it is not conducive to producing human beings that are actually interested in serving God and developing love for Krishna and sharing that with others. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask them now. And of course, we're going to have Arti in a few minutes. Yes, go right ahead, my dear friend.
So about the Sanatana Dharma, what steps do you think we could take, like down the road, to like try to get there and like try to like get better?
Well, like I said, old is gold. We have to follow what our ancestors did. What did our ancestors do? They prayed every day. In other words, the beginning of spiritual life is this. You go to sleep early and you wake up very early. That's the beginning of spiritual life. You don't have spiritual life, you go to sleep, like 12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock at night and waking up 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't accomplish anything spiritual by that type of a schedule. The first thing you have to do is learn to go to sleep early, before 10 o'clock, and wake up like 3 o'clock or maximum 4 o'clock in the morning, where you have 2 or 3 hours free to develop your spiritual life. Which means you have to take a bath every day, and best is take 2 baths a day. And you have to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So one gentleman told me, well, you only talk about Krishna. You never say anything about Ram. I said, what? What do you mean? Our mantra that we chant every day is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We say the name of Rama as much as we say the name of Krishna. So that's a false narrative that we don't say anything about Ram. You see? So you have to chant the holy names of the Lord. You have to be educated by genuine sadhus in Bhagavad Gita. That's it. Bhagavad Gita is the greatest scripture in the world. It's Krishna speaking about himself. Who else is a bigger expert than Krishna himself? And he's talking about himself in the whole Bhagavad Gita. You see? So even if you only read one book called Bhagavad Gita, you'll be the most educated and most successful person. And this is true even in Christianity and Islam and other religions. Like a Muslim, he only reads one book. It's called Quran. And the rest of his life, if he becomes an imam, that's all he speaks about is Quran, Quran. Quran says this, Quran says that. Right? And a Christian minister, what does he talk about all the time? One book called the Bible. In the Bible it says this, in the Bible it says that. Right? So you don't have to read a lot of books to be educated. You only need one book. And the greatest book, even greater than the Muslim book, the Quran, or the Christian book, or this book or that book, It's Bhagavad Gita because it's Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, speaking and explaining who he is and how to serve him and how to attain liberation from birth and death. You see, it's the greatest book that's ever been written. And actually, it's not just a book. It's the spoken words of Krishna himself. Krishna is speaking throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is asking him questions about who he is, what's the purpose of life, and so many things, and Krishna is answering them. So if you want knowledge, all you have to do is read that one book called Bhagavad Gita. You'll have all knowledge. So, the Quran is like that also to a certain extent. Both the Quran and the Bible are not perfect. Bhagavad Gita is perfect. There's no mistakes in it. When it's, especially with the purports of our Guru Dev, Srila Prabhupada, you are reading the book that even the Devatas read. So, here we have a perfect system already proven to be successful. That is Bhagavad Gita and Sanatana Dharma. Therefore, we should not ignore it. We should jump into it sincerely and very adamantly to learn this transcendental wisdom by which you can be liberated from the cycle of birth and death, live a very good life, and also help many other people. So, what was your question again?
My question was about what kind of steps can we do, and I know it's really easy to get kind of diverted from we could be practicing consistently for a week or maybe 2 weeks, and then we could kind of drive away from the path. We kind of drive away from the path of focus, and we kind of get distracted sometimes. And I know in this world, especially, the people that surround us and the environment that is around us really distracting. It's really tough to get diverted.
Point number 1, go to sleep early, wake up early. Point number 2, only associate with genuine devotees. And that's why you've come to the temple. Is anyone talking to you about baseball or basketball or this girl or that girl or how to make more money or they want a new car? I hope you're not hearing anything like that here. You're hearing about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, and he's right there on the altar. You can see him also. It's not that we're talking about something that's ephemeral or ethereal. This is real. And therefore, you learn not by speaking, but by listening to bona fide speakers. What's a bona fide speaker? Someone who doesn't eat meat, doesn't gamble, doesn't have illicit sex, doesn't intoxicate, and regularly chants Hare Krishna and follows the rules and regulations of Sanatana Dharma. What are those rules and regulations? That is giving up all these bad habits, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and so forth, and 2, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The names of Krishna and Krishna are non-different. This is not a mundane mantra. Mantra means man, the mind. Tra means something that delivers the mind from ignorance. If you chant Hare Krishna on a regular basis, it'll destroy any ignorance that's entered into your mind by watching television or listening to nonsense or reading comics or whatever, right? And it'll purify your mind, and then you'll be able to understand higher order spiritual knowledge by which you can live a very successful life and eventually go back to Godhead in this lifetime. So you have to make a choice. And the real sacrifice is not, sleeping on a bed of nails or doing severe tapasya or sacrifices. The real tapasya is regularly reading Bhagavad Gita and discussing it with genuine gurus and following the lifestyle of a devotee. going to sleep early, waking up early, chanting your rounds in the early morning. The best time for spiritual activity is called Brahma Muhurta, 3 or 4 hours before the sunrise. That's the best time because everybody's sleeping, and but you're awake, and you're chanting, and you're thinking about Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now you're going to be a very exceptional person because you take an interest in Krishna. Krishna is in your heart. He's watching you. He's watching. Everybody's being watched right now because Krishna or God is in the heart. If he sees that you take an interest in him, he takes an interest in you. Now, most of your problems are going to go away because Krishna is going to guide you. Krishna is in your heart. He'll give you knowledge from the heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adhikavayesh Muyanti Surayaha. Lord Brahma was instructed by Krishna through his heart. You see, because Krishna is in the heart. He's the source of all knowledge. So today, people are only interested, in becoming IT engineers or something like that. But actually, the greatest vocation that you can take up is to become a genuine devotee. Now let's look at this. Who's a genuine devotee? Narada Muni is. Well, Narada Muni was born in a very poor family. His mother, he only had a mother, he didn't know who his father was. He became the greatest sadhu in the history of the world, and he's still here. You see? Why? Because he took up Krishna consciousness seriously. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness seriously becomes an exceptional person because they're associating with Krishna himself. Just like here we have the deities. This is Krishna himself. Now, not everyone is qualified to see that this is actually Krishna. For example, one time in an antique fair, this one man came and he stopped at one person's booth, and he was looking at what that person was selling, and that lady was selling coins. She had cans or baskets of coins, So he started fingering one of those baskets and looking at the coins a little bit, and he said to the lady, he said, how much you want for this basket of coins? She said, I want $60. He said, no. It's way too expensive. I'll give you 35. She said, no, that's what I paid for it. He said, okay, I'll give you 45. It's the last price. She said, okay, take it. 2 weeks later, there was a newspaper article. Antique collector finds a coin worth $2 million. Now, that coin was in that basket of coins. Now, how come that man was so eager to buy that basket of coins? Because he could see that there was one coin that was very expensive. And how come the lady, who was also an antique dealer, she couldn't see it? Because she wasn't trained enough, she wasn't educated enough to be able to see how valuable that coin was. So everything depends on seeing properly. In life, we have the word philosophy in English. But actually, the real word for philosophy is darshan. Darshan in Hindi and Sanskrit means how you see. Just like a mother sees her child with love and devotion, and the child molester sees the same child with the desire to exploit that child for sense gratification. So you have two people looking at the same thing, but they're diametrically different. So, therefore, we become educated when we're taught how to see correctly. Just like when I see a human being or an ant, I say Haribol, because I know that just like Krishna is in my heart, he's in the heart of that human being, and he's in the heart of that little ant. In fact, Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. Every living entity is a moving mandir, because God is there. So when you get this universal vision of God, you become civilized. And you won't do anything to hurt anybody or anything. So this is what we have to teach our children. We have to teach them to have a universal vision of God, of Krishna, in the heart of every living entity and in everything. Not only living things, also in the rocks, in the mountains, in the oceans. Krishna is present everywhere. This is real education. This is real darshan. This is how our children have to be educated. Just like one time, one of my kids was playing with the neighbor kid, and the neighbor kid brought a can of lighter fluid and was putting it in an ant hole and setting the ants on fire. And I saw this. I came out and said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Oh, we're burning the ants." I said, "You're not allowed to do that." She said, "These are living entities." And then the little girl started crying, and she ran to her mother. And her mother ran out and said, "Why did you make that daughter cry?" I said, "Because I did something that you don't do." She said, "What's that?" I said, "I educated your daughter. She was killing these ants, and she had a can of lighter fluid that she could have set herself on fire, not alone burn the ants, but she could have been set on fire. And I told her that you don't do this. These are living entities." So the mother calmed down, because if that kid continued playing with that lighter fluid and killing ants, which is killing living entities, she could have set herself on fire without the mother even knowing what was happening. So it's not that just the family members teach the kids. Sometimes the neighbors teach the kids. Sometimes relatives teach the kids. But they should teach them only good things, only about Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means eternal. So there's two things in life. There's Sat and Asat. Sat means what is eternal, and Asat means what is temporary. Real devotees, real pundits, they only deal with things that are eternal. They're not dealing with things that are temporary. Or if they do deal with things that are temporary, it's to engage those things in the service of Sat. So, therefore, all these things have to be taught to our children. First of all, we have to learn. And then we have to teach our kids by example. Like, for example, if a mother and father say, "Sonny, go upstairs and do homework." So he says, "Okay." So as he's walking upstairs, he sees that his mother and father are watching television. And he says, "Oh, now I understand. I have to do homework, but they can watch television." Now that is a very bad example. Very, very bad example. If you want your kid to have full respect for you, you don't want him to learn to have his own room, and he goes in the room and locks it and opens up his computer, and now he's doing talking to all kinds of people, staying up really late, and who knows what he's looking at. There's so many horrible things on the computer or the cell phone. You have to be the example of what your child should be. So if you're watching television, then the kid's going to watch television also. But if you're always with your kid, teaching him how to do homework better, how to be respectful, how to be passionate, to learn by associating with genuine pundits and gurus and so forth. The real thing is saman, is respect. Children have to be taught to respect elders, family members, and everything. So when they become very respectful and humble, then they become real subjects for education, but real education. How to worship God and go back to Godhead. So I'll stop right there, unless there's another question. And thank you very much for coming tonight. We'll have our arti program now, and I hope that you will all be very happy to worship Radha and Krishna tonight. Hari Bol. Jai Shri Krishna Bhagavan Ki Jai.
Maharaj, come mic. Your mic both on there. Go, you come and sing. You switch that off.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
बहुत loud है रखो.
जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada.
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद
Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Arati Kashoba.
शिव जयो जयो गौरचंदे आरती के शोभा
Janavi Tatabane Jagamanaloba.
जानवीता तवानी जगमनलोभा
Kibadaki Nenitai Jan Pami Godadada.
शिवदकी ने निताई चांद पामे गडदारा
Nikate Advaita Srini Pasha Chatradhara.
निकाते अद्वैता श्रीनी वाक चक्रधारा
Kibabashi Achen Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane.
शिवबोशी आचे गौराचान रत्ना सिंहासने
Harati Kare na Brahma Adi Devagane.
आरती गोरे न ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने
Kivanara Hari Adi Kori Shamarulaya.
शिवनरा हरि आदि कोरी समर दुलाया
Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gusho Adigaya.
जय मुकुंद बहतु गोषादि गाया
Kiva Shankha Baje Ganta Baje Baje Kartala.
शिव शंकर बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला
मधुर मृदंग बाजे परम रसाला.
माधुरा मृदंग बाजे परम रसाला
Kiba Boho Koti Chandra Jini Padan Ujala.
शिव बहु कोटि चंद्र जीनी वदन उज्ज्वला
Galak Deshe Banamala Kare
चलमाला
गालादेशे बाणमाला कोरे जलमाला
शिव शिव शुक नारद प्रेमे गद गद
शिव शिव शुक नारद प्रेमे गदगाद
भक्ति विनोद देखे गौरार संपद
भक्ति विनोद देखे गौरार संपाद
जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय
जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद
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 जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद
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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम
राम
राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण
हरि बोल
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Haribo.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Ram
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango
Nitai Gaurango Jayo Gaura Hari
Nitai Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari
Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari
Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari
Sachi Mare Pranadana Gaura Hari
Sachimata Pranadana Gaura Hari
Bhakta Jane Pranadana Gaura Hari
Bhakta Jana Pranadana Gaura Hari
Gaura 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 Hari
Oh Gaura 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 Hari
Gaura 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 Hari
Gaura 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 Hari
Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath
Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath
Jai Jagannath Swami Jai Jagannath
Jai Jagannath Swami Jai Jagannath
Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra
Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra
Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra
Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra
Jagannath Swami Nayana Patagami
Jagannath Swami Nayana Patagami
Nayana Patagami Bhava Tume
Nayana Patagami Bhava Tume
Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram
Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram
Sita Ram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman
Sita Ram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman
Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha
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 Jaya Radha Nil Madhav Radha Nil Madhav Radhe
Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe
Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol
Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari
Jayam Vishtapad Paramahansa Pararajaka Shastra Tarasatara Shishi Shimadi's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Guran Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavani Ki Jai. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali. Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pucharini. Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatyadisatari. Hare Krishna. 1 second, 1 second. So we have some good news to say. We opened our new temple in Bellevue. It's twice as big as this temple. And it's a very, I'd say, prestigious place. It's right in the the center of temple of Bellevue. It's called the Spring District, the new downtown of Bellevue. So you're all welcome to come and visit it also. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladala dadaine.
Praladala dadaine.
Praladala dadaine.
Praladala dadaine.
Hiranyakashipurvaksaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvaksaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvaksaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Shilatankanakalaye.
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 Eto Narasimha Parato Narasimha.
Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha.
Hito Narasimha Parato Narasimha.
Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha.
Hito Narasimha Parato Narasimha.
Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha.
Yeto yami tato Narasimha.
Yeto yami tato Narasimha.
Yeto yami tato Narasimha.
Yeto yami tato Narasimha.
Bohe Narasimha hidaye Narasimha.
Bahir Narasimha Hridaye Narasimha.
Bohe Narasimha hidaye Narasimha.
Bahir Narasimha Hridaye Narasimha.
Bohe Narasimha hidaye Narasimha.
Bahir Narasimha Hridaye Narasimha.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade.
Tava kara kamala bare nakam adbhuta singham dalita liranna kashipu tanu vrengam keshavadeta narahari rupa jai jagadish hare jai jagadish hare jai jagadish hare.
Avakara Kamalavare
Naka
अर्बुदशृङ्गां दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
जय केशवधृता नरहरि रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
जय केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव
नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव
जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह
जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह
जय नरहरि 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 जय नरहरि
जय नरहरि जय नरहरि जय नरहरि जय नरहरि
जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद
जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद
जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद
प्रभुपाद
प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद
पुनीता गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल
जय
जनेश्वर भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंद
Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Sunday feast. And as Maharaj said, we have now one more center in Bellevue. So the darshan is open during weekends for now, morning 8 a.m. to night 8 p.m. We'll gradually open that as we learn more and more things and staff of the volunteers in Balaji Temple. So today's sponsors, the feast sponsors, are Sunil Prabhu and Rohini Nair on the occasion of wedding anniversary. And Hari Badri on the occasion of his birthday. And Supriya Shanai for peace and happiness of all living beings. And Nikita Trivedi and Prachi Ved, they are our feast sponsors, and we have one more. Pranjal Palave, Gauranga Chandra Prabhu's daughter. She is sponsoring on the occasion of Balaji Temple opening. So, as you know, this feast sponsorship is not just Sunday feast. We collect in the name of Sunday feast, but we use it for our all free food truck, wherever we go and distribute prasadam, including here. So it's a great cause. If you want to see how your money is actually being spent on this giving prasadam to various people, you can go to our free food truck. There is a website, Northwest Share. You can see the testimonials, right? How people are really benefiting and appreciating what we are doing here. So every dollar which you are giving is actually being utilized there also. So please do consider always sponsoring a feast here for any occasion which you have in mind, right? Last time I remember, right, one of the unique dedication. somebody actually sponsored a feast because he wants everybody who's unemployed to get a job. That was his. He doesn't have special occasion, but he was praying for everyone. So you can create an occasion. You genuinely feel love for others too, and please sponsor the feast. We can take whenever whoever is interested, the welcome desk. We can take the the sponsorship. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. It's very good that whenever you come to the temple, at least you should learn one thing. And hold on to that all week long till the next week. And the next week you also learn one thing. If you come to the temple regularly, you'll be a pundit in 1 year. So, here. How come you can't? We need one mechanic here. So I want to read something to you real quick. Utsahan nishchayat taryat tatat karma pravartana sangatyagat sato vite sadbir bhaktir prasidati. This is Sanskrit verse in the book called The Nectar of Instruction, and it says, there are 6 principles favorable for the execution of pure devotional service. 1, being enthusiastic. 2, being enthusiastic. 2, endeavoring with confidence. Now I'm going to stop right there. There's 4 more points, but those 2 are especially important. Number 1 is being enthusiastic. Now, whenever I see a person who's negative, always saying things that are negative, I stay away from them. I don't want to hear things negative. I want to hear things that are positive, and they're uplifting, and they are, it's okay. They are something that inspires you to become active also, especially active spiritually. So here it says, there are 6 things favorable for the execution of pure devotional service. And number 1 is being enthusiastic. Now, what does it mean, being enthusiastic? This is explained a little bit later in the purport to this verse, where it says, endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha, or enthusiasm. So, when you do something, meaning when you do some seva in the temple or at home for your family, with intelligence in Krishna consciousness, in other words, you are doing something in order to help yourself and others with intelligence of in Krishna consciousness, that is called utsaha, or enthusiasm. The devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. The execution of devotional service is not a matter of idle meditation, but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. So here we have a very important statement in this simple book called The Nectar of Instruction. In fact, if you don't have this book, I highly recommend you get it. We have it in our library here. But the idea is, in order to do things, you have to be enthusiastic. You have to be intelligent, but have a positive attitude. To have a positive attitude, you have to have faith in God. You have to believe that there is such a thing as a God. And his name is Krishna. But he has other names also, but they're all referring to the same person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And not only that, he's the closest person to us. He's in our heart, watching everything we do. And when we take an interest in Krishna, who's in our heart, he takes a personal interest in us. And from that point on, he gives us knowledge, because knowledge comes from the heart, and Krishna is in the heart. He gives us enthusiasm. He gives us intelligence to make the right decisions in life. All these things are important to have a peaceful, happy life. And we get that knowledge from Krishna, who's in the heart. You don't necessarily get it from the outside. So the most important thing for making spiritual advancement is to avoid the association of atheistic people. People who are eating meat, gambling, engaging in illicit sex, and intoxication, and other forms of negative activities that engender frustration, engender confusion, engender, let's say, a violent nature. So we need to associate with people who are sattvic, following the principles of spiritual life, and happy. And not happy in a material way, but happy in a spiritual way, because they have a real relationship with God. So I just want to let you go away and just think about this. The way to be actually happy is to come closer and closer to Krishna, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is present in your heart. He's the closest person to every one of us. And to communicate with him by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because those are the names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in this mantra you have three important words: Hare, Krishna, and Rama. Hare refers to Srimati Radharani. Krishna, of course, is Krishna. And Rama, of course, Krishna again, but in this special form as Lord Ramachandra. So here we have a perfect mantra that puts us in touch with the Supreme Lord, who's the closest person to us. He's in our heart. No one is closer than that. And he is the source of all knowledge. Oftentimes you'll read about famous people who made discoveries, and they'll say oftentimes a very, let's say, mysterious thing. They'll say, well, I've been thinking about solving this problem for many years, and one day it came to me in a magical way. Have you ever heard that before? Yeah. That means Krishna is speaking from the heart. So we should learn to communicate with Krishna speaking from our heart by chanting his holy names and engaging in his service. So I wanted to leave you with that thought tonight, and thank you very much for coming. Please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare. Thank you.
Please stand up for the Arati. It's a Shine Arati. Radha Krishna Pran Mora Jugala Kishora जीवने मराने गति अर नाही मोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर कालिंदीर कुले केली कदंबे रवाना रतना बेदीरा उपार बोसाबो दुजाना राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो चंदनेर गंधा
श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो चंदनेर गंधा
श्यामरा दुलाबो कबे हरि मुख चंद्रा
चमर दुलाबो कबे हेरी मुख चंदा
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
कातिया माला तीरमाला दिबो दोहरा गले
गाठिया मला तिरमाला दिबो दो हर गले
आघरे तुलिया दिबो कर्पूरा तांबूले
अधरे तुलिया दिबो कर्पूरा तंबूले
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भक्त प्रहलाद की,
जय।
श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा की,
जय।
श्री श्री गौर निताई की, शीला प्रभुपाद की। हरि हरि बोल।